The National Electrical Code, or NEC, mandates that materials within plenum spaces meet specific fire safety standards. A plenum, as defined by the NEC, is a compartment or chamber connecting to air conditioning or ventilation systems forming part of the air distribution network. These spaces are typically found above suspended ceilings or beneath raised floors. The primary reason for requiring plenum-rated materials lies in their tested ability to resist flame spread and minimize smoke development during a fire. These materials undergo rigorous testing to ensure they do not significantly contribute to the propagation of fire or the generation of smoke within the plenum. In contrast, non-plenum-rated materials lack this testing and verification. Consequently, their use in plenums poses a potential hazard, as they could accelerate fire spread and increase smoke production, endangering building occupants. Examples of non-plenum rated materials to avoid in plenum spaces include: firstly, plastic retainer strips commonly found with J-hooks; secondly, nylon pull strings; thirdly, standard duct tape; fourthly, cardboard; and fifthly, untreated wood. To ascertain whether a material is plenum rated, always consult the manufacturer's specifications and product documentation. Understanding and adhering to these regulations is crucial for ensuring fire safety within buildings. The NEC does not specify a size limit for non-plenum rated materials in plenum environments, but it emphasizes the need for plenum rating unless an exception applies. Exceptions are specifically listed in the NEC. Plenum-rated materials undergo testing to ensure low flame spread and smoke development characteristics, which are vital for maintaining air quality and preventing the spread of fire and smoke in the event of an incident. The absence of a specific size limit doesn't negate the requirement for plenum-rated materials. Rather, it highlights the importance of using listed and labeled products that meet the stringent requirements for use in air handling spaces. The purpose of using plenum-rated materials is to ensure that the air circulating through the building is not contaminated by harmful substances released during a fire. Non-plenum-rated materials can release toxic fumes and contribute to the rapid spread of fire and smoke, thereby endangering occupants and hindering evacuation efforts. Always refer to the NEC and local building codes for specific requirements and restrictions related to materials used in plenum spaces. Building codes often incorporate and expand upon the NEC guidelines, providing further details and clarifications. Proper material selection and installation are crucial for maintaining the safety and integrity of building systems. When selecting materials for plenum spaces, consider factors such as flame spread index, smoke developed index, and compliance with relevant safety standards. Flame spread index measures the rate at which flame spreads across the surface of a material, while the smoke developed index indicates the amount of smoke generated during combustion. Low values for both indices indicate better fire resistance and reduced smoke production. In addition to material selection, proper installation techniques are essential for ensuring the effectiveness of plenum-rated materials. Follow manufacturers' instructions and industry best practices to minimize the risk of fire hazards and maintain air quality within the building. Regularly inspect plenum spaces to identify and address any potential issues, such as damaged or improperly installed materials. Promptly replace any non-compliant materials to maintain the integrity of the plenum system and ensure continued compliance with safety regulations. When working with electrical systems in plenum spaces, ensure that all wiring and cabling are plenum rated and installed according to NEC guidelines. The electrical cables used in plenums must be specifically designed to resist flame propagation and minimize smoke production, thereby reducing the risk of electrical fires and maintaining air quality. Use appropriate cable supports and fasteners to secure wiring and cabling in plenum spaces, preventing damage and ensuring proper functionality. Avoid using cable ties or other non-plenum rated materials to support or bundle electrical cables in plenums, as these can contribute to the spread of fire and smoke. When installing lighting fixtures in plenum spaces, select models that are specifically designed for plenum use and comply with relevant safety standards. Plenum-rated lighting fixtures typically feature sealed enclosures and fire-resistant materials to prevent the escape of smoke and flames in the event of a fire. Ensure that all lighting fixtures are properly grounded and wired according to NEC guidelines to minimize the risk of electrical shock and fire hazards. When performing maintenance or repairs in plenum spaces, take precautions to avoid damaging or disturbing existing materials and equipment. Use appropriate tools and techniques to minimize dust and debris, and properly dispose of any waste materials to maintain air quality within the building. If any damage is detected, promptly repair or replace the affected materials to prevent further deterioration and ensure continued compliance with safety regulations. When designing new building systems or renovating existing structures, consider the potential impact of plenum spaces on fire safety and air quality. Incorporate plenum-rated materials and equipment into the design from the outset to ensure compliance with relevant codes and standards. Consult with qualified engineers and contractors to ensure that all plenum systems are properly designed, installed, and maintained to provide a safe and healthy environment for building occupants. The use of non-plenum rated materials can have serious consequences, including fines, legal liabilities, and potential loss of life. Building owners and managers have a responsibility to ensure that all materials used in plenum spaces comply with applicable codes and regulations. Implement a comprehensive fire safety plan that includes regular inspections, maintenance, and training to minimize the risk of fire hazards and protect building occupants. Educate employees and tenants about the importance of fire safety and the proper use of fire protection equipment. Conduct regular fire drills to ensure that occupants are familiar with evacuation procedures and emergency contact information. By taking these precautions, building owners and managers can create a safer and more secure environment for everyone. The NEC provides detailed specifications for plenum-rated materials, including requirements for flame spread index, smoke developed index, and other performance characteristics. Consult the NEC for specific guidance on material selection and installation in plenum spaces. In addition to the NEC, other organizations, such as Underwriters Laboratories or UL, and the National Fire Protection Association or NFPA, also publish standards and guidelines for plenum-rated materials. Familiarize yourself with these resources to ensure compliance with all applicable regulations. When evaluating plenum-rated materials, consider the specific requirements of the application and the potential hazards involved. Select materials that are appropriate for the intended use and can withstand the environmental conditions present in the plenum space. For example, in areas with high humidity or corrosive substances, choose materials that are resistant to moisture and chemical attack. When selecting electrical cables for plenum spaces, consider the voltage rating, current carrying capacity, and operating temperature of the cable. Choose cables that are appropriately sized for the intended application and can safely handle the electrical load. Use cable trays or other support systems to properly manage and organize electrical cables in plenum spaces, preventing damage and ensuring accessibility for maintenance and repairs. Avoid overloading electrical circuits in plenum spaces, as this can lead to overheating and fire hazards. Regularly inspect electrical systems to identify and address any potential issues, such as loose connections or damaged wiring. When installing fire suppression systems in plenum spaces, ensure that the systems are properly designed and installed to provide adequate coverage and protection. Use fire sprinklers or other suppression devices that are specifically approved for use in plenum environments. Regularly inspect and maintain fire suppression systems to ensure that they are in good working order and ready to respond in the event of a fire. In addition to fire suppression systems, consider installing smoke detectors and fire alarms in plenum spaces to provide early warning of a fire. Connect smoke detectors and fire alarms to a central monitoring system to ensure prompt notification of emergency personnel. Conduct regular testing of smoke detectors and fire alarms to verify their functionality and ensure that they are properly calibrated. When working with flammable or combustible materials in plenum spaces, take precautions to prevent ignition and minimize the risk of fire. Store flammable materials in approved containers and keep them away from potential ignition sources. Use non-sparking tools and equipment to avoid generating sparks that could ignite flammable materials. Provide adequate ventilation to prevent the buildup of flammable vapors. When performing hot work, such as welding or cutting, in plenum spaces, obtain a hot work permit and follow established safety procedures. Use fire-resistant blankets or shields to protect surrounding materials from sparks and hot metal. Have a fire extinguisher readily available and monitor the work area for signs of fire. By following these guidelines and taking appropriate precautions, you can help to prevent fires and protect building occupants in plenum spaces. Always prioritize safety and consult with qualified professionals when necessary to ensure compliance with all applicable codes and regulations. Remember that the selection and use of plenum-rated materials is crucial for maintaining fire safety and air quality in buildings. By understanding the requirements and taking appropriate precautions, you can help to create a safer and healthier environment for everyone.